Mike check Shantae Arnett. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here. This is In My Queer View. This is episode 2. Thank you everybody for joining. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for coming and giving me a little bit of your time. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and do all of the things that YouTubers tell you to do when you watch their videos. Okay? If you're returning to my channel, hey girl, welcome back. And thank you so much for coming back and giving me some more of your time. Okay? Today, we have another Watch Your Mouth video. If you've seen my sister series to this show, A POC POV, I started that series in episode 1 with a very intense Watch Your Mouth video, okay? And this isn't gonna be that, okay? But I do want to start this episode out with a little bit of a story time, and then it's gonna lead into a discussion, okay? And this time, this Watch Your Mouth video is gonna be a little different because I'm the person that learned that I needed to watch my damn mouth, okay? So lock in while I clock in, and we getting ready to get started, okay? This is gonna be good. Okay. So, I was on Facebook about a week ago. This is actually coordinating with my show, A POC POV, because I learned this lesson when I needed to watch my mouth in the midst of the situation that inspired the first episode of A POC POV. So, what I learned is that you shouldn't call people pussy while you're arguing. I'm gonna just start with the point and then reverse and tell you how we got here. Don't call people pussy while you're arguing, because as you see in the title of this video, vaginas are not symbols of weakness. Okay, so breakdown. I posted something about the situation, and I got a comment from one of my friends on Facebook, and they were saying how, basically their point was how I was well within my right to go off on the person for what they were doing and using racial slurs as common language, but the way that I was doing it, I should consider going about it a different way, okay? Something I posted, I made a comment saying that the person was too pussy to pull up and they not gonna come and, you know, stand on what they said, blah, 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 okay? Now, the person who came into my comments, I haven't actually had a conversation with them to let them know that I was doing a video on this and to ask if I can say their name. That's why I'm not. But I may have mentioned it, I may have not, but excuse me, I can't certifiably confirm that they gave me permission to say their name in my video, so I'm not. But the person came on my page and they said very politely, they were like, you know, I'm well within my right to go off on them, but using the word pussy and equating the vagina to a symbol of weakness or something that's less than, I should consider going about it a different way, because it shows that the vagina is less than that of the genitalia of a man. Or that was what my comment was implying by using that language within the context that I was using it, right? So I wanted to defend why I was going off so badly that I completely skipped over this person's point about me using gender language in a hateful manner, right? So I was so caught up in the fact that this person was reprimanding me that I didn't actually retain the point of what they were reprimanding me about. And I was so blind to what their actual point was that I got caught up in defending something that I was justified in defending, but in the moment, I was caught up in the wrong battle, right? this is leading me into why this is an episode of In My Queer View. As a queer person, the feminine body, the feminine essence, the feminine being, vaginas, all of that type of things, it's kind of been held in high regard, or it's been, I'm missing the word that I'm looking for, but it's been held in high regard, and we've spoken and used it in language and that was very complimentary. And being so caught up in that and being so caught up in a conversation about race, I did not see where my view as a queer person, or my view as a born male at birth individual was not retaining, that I was equating the female body or the trans man's body, how that I had to play into conversation later on, but how the vagina was being equated to a symbol of weakness or being less than. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, you too dick and balls to pull up and fight me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to go through every single comment and lay out every single exchange within the conversation, but at some point I went back and I read through the comments and I realized, whoa, I am so wrong in this situation. I am such a freaking idiot because I'm so caught up in defending myself as a Black person that I was not being responsible as an advocate for all people, women, trans people, Black people, all marginalized people across the board. And I had tuned out of my big picture hat and had zeroed in on a conversation about race and had made myself someone who was being the type of person that I was combating. I had to step back and take a serious look at myself and realize that as a person who claims to advocate for all people, all marginalized people, all people who suffer injustices, that's what my philosophy of eliminating cultural ignorance is built on. It's not just for Black people. It's not just for queer people. It's for women. It's for lesbians. It's for trans people. It's for every single person out there who has felt marginalized and who has felt attacked by a hierarchy or a society that has made you feel like it is not for you. I lost sight of that, being so caught up in one facet of my makeup that I didn't look at the bigger picture. And so I had to take a step back and I really had to apologize because I would never want to hurt any type of people that I sit online and I sit and defend every single day. You know what I mean? I have so many people in my life that I retrospectively realized that that comment could have negatively affected, or the way that that word was used, the context that it was used could negatively affect people. So, in essence, moral of the story is, don't call people pussy while you arguing, because a pussy is not a symbol of weakness. Do you get what I'm saying? To have a vagina does not mean that you are weak, does not mean that you are less than, does not mean that you ain't about this life and you won't pull up and whoop somebody's ass. Okay, so in that, I started to look at it in a broader perspective and with a more centered focus. And I wanted to take accountability for myself, because spending the majority of my life as a gay man and leading into my non-binary transition, it's become hyper important for me, super important for me to make sure that I'm aware of the way that my words and my actions affect the people around me. Because as a person who is now speaking on YouTube and to the public about the injustices that people of color and that people of the queer community have suffered, I have to be an example. Not only as somebody who's speaking out, but as somebody who's raising a child, as somebody who has queer children that I have to be an example for, as somebody who somebody's child out there could be watching this right now and see me as somebody who's speaking for them. And if I say something or do something that goes against what I represent or the things that I say that I stand for, I have to own that and acknowledge it. So I also wanted to take a moment to see this from another perspective, and how I kind of, in my mind, related this to the word tranny, and how within the community, the word tranny was something that was just like another word. It was another colloquialism. It was another term of endearment that was used to address each other in certain ways within the trans community. Do you know what I mean? And then there became a point where an awakening happened, and there was a level of awareness towards that word as something that was disrespectful and negative. And now the word is seen as a slur, or has been revealed as a slur. I am not saying that the word pussy is a slur, but I'm saying that in my awakening of how the word affects, or how the word could affect or could come off, I equate that to now understanding how the word tranny went from being a term of endearment within the community to a word that is now looked at as negative and something that is not appreciated, used in a general sense. Do you get what I mean? In some ways, I guess we could equate that to the N-word as well, because it was something that was occupied by an exclusive Black label, but then it's a word that became something that spread to outer society and became weaponized. And, well, re-weaponized, because the N-word has always been weaponized, but the reclaiming of the word within the community, and then now it coming back and just saying, no, we just shouldn't use it. That's my general point. Because I don't want people to get the impression that I'm saying that the N-word as at one point wasn't a bad thing and now it is. No, it's always been a bad thing, but in the reclaiming of the word, we wanted to lock it into exclusively Black spaces, similar to the word being tranny being locked into exclusively trans spaces. And when the word became manipulated and used by people who weren't members of that society as weapons, that's when a flag was waved that this period is over, right? Or that another type of approach should be taken, okay? In my lesson about the word pussy, it made me look at those type of situations in a different light, and it made me kind of understand on a different level where these type of awarenesses and where these type of sensitivities come from. So I want to lead that into a bigger conversation about how powerful words are, and how we sometimes use certain words in certain contexts under an understood license that, you know what I mean, right? We use certain words in certain contexts with an assumed understood intention that should not always be taken. And I think that kitchen table talk has now expanded past the kitchen table, and now with certain mediums like social media and reality TV, that conversations that were kept within private spaces that were not looked at as okay because they didn't affect the people in the room have now gone viral and across the world, and now everybody is seeing what everyone is talking about within the privacy of their own space. With that being said, I think that we all need to take a step back and assume a certain amount of responsibility for the things that we say to the public, and also make it a practice within our private lives, because as a performer, I've always grown up with the philosophy that what you do in rehearsal is what you will do on stage, and what you practice is what you will perform. So I'm taking the initiative to cut back and be super aware of what I say and how I say certain things that I've always looked at as just normal conversation, and see how they can affect people, and rearrange the way that I go forward within my life speaking, because you always want to present yourself in the most authentic and respectful light. So I think if we all do that, we will have a lot less tension and negative interaction with other people around us based on the things that come out of our mouth. Okay? With that being said, I'm about to wrap up because I've covered all my points, and I'm looking over here at my bulletin and I've gotten through all of my bullet points. So this has been in my queer view. As I do with every video, drop down in the comments and in my inboxes on at Shantae Arnett on all social media platforms. Social media platforms. It sounded like I was about to say sausage. Social media platforms at Shantae Arnett. You can see how to spell it in the name on my channel. Like, share, subscribe, do what all the YouTubers tell you to do. Make sure you catch up on a POC POV, and take a look at the video that I uploaded before this, Essays with Essay, and it is just some thoughts that I was running around about when I was setting up to do this video about my thoughts on Thanksgiving and why I don't celebrate it. So maybe you should check that out. And if you have any questions or suggestions that you want me to answer, any topics you want me to talk about, anything regarding being a person of color, being a person of the queer community, or just something you want to hear me run my mouth about on Essays with Essay, that might be something